In this training video, we're going to take a look at Gearlog's planning tool. This is particularly useful when you're looking ahead to plan activities, thinking about who will come on them, what kind of qualifications they need, what equipment you might need to run them, where they'll take place at. To access the planning tool, it's from the Tools menu and then Plans. As normal, let's take a little moment to get ourselves familiar with what we can see on the screen, and then we'll dive into creating a plan. First off, we get a filter option at the top. This will let us, where we have a large number of plans, control what we see on the screen. Particularly useful would be to search for plans by their name, only see certain matching plans, plans being run for parts of the organisation, or plans taking place at certain sites. As you'll be familiar with our other videos, there's always the option to archive a plan rather than deleting it, and then to see those archive plans using the filter. The plans you've got are then laid out below, those matching the filter, and we have two display options here. One is to see each of the plans listed one after another. The other option is to switch to a calendar view, in which we'll see each of the plans laid out on the particular days that they take place on. We'll switch back to the list view for now. Let's get familiar now with adding a plan and look at the different elements that can go into creating it. The first part is to create the plan itself. So we'll hit the Add Plan button. Give the plan a name. We'll call this Staff Observation Day. This is particularly useful, for example, if you're an educational institution running schemes like the Duke of Edinburgh, where you want to start doing the risk assessment and planning for young people coming on those. As noticed in this demo here, also great for setting up team days, running activities, getting prepared for off-site client work, all sorts of different possible ways to use our planning tool across the different types of people using Gearlog. If this plan will take place at a particular one of your sites and locations, you can select where it will take place. We're going to run that in the climbing hall at our climbing centre, so we'll place it there. If you want, you can provide some notes or a description of the plan. We'll save time now in this training course and just leave that blank. When will this activity take place? So we're going to run this activity in the end of January on Wednesday the 28th and Thursday the 29th, so a 2-day actually. Thinking about how many people we might need to run the activity that we must have added to it before it's safe to run it. We'll say in this situation that we'll need one of our instructors to run this, so the minimum number of organisers required will be 1. We'll save this plan. So now we can see that we've got our plan added to the system, and at least several things are wrong with it. The first is that not enough organisers have been added to it, and it also needs approval. So let's get to work on fleshing out this plan so that we can see the options available to us. To work with the plan, click it to open it. If you need to change any of the details so far, for example, editing its name, we'll change it to Staff Observation Days, as it's a 2-day activity, and then save it here. If you need to delete the plan, then the delete icon there is ready for you to use to do that. Alternatively, what you can also do with your plans is archive them if you wish as well, so that they won't be deleted, but will be hidden from the screen. Scrolling down, let's have a quick look at this plan that's been created for us now. The first thing we see is a summary of the information that we've already provided, where it takes place and when we're expecting to run it. If we'd like to invite people to take part in organising and running it, event very, very useful if you're a scout troop and you're looking to encourage your volunteers to join up and help run your activities, then this link is very useful to send to people. If you'd like to invite people to attend the plan, in this case, we may well send out the link to our staff saying, would you like to come along to one of our observation days? You can send them the link and people can then sign up for this plan directly by following that link. And then below that we see a group of sections which enable us to flesh out the plan a little bit. Let's start by deciding who's going to approve this plan. So that person will look at all the information added to the plan and decide if that activity is good to go. Let's add an approver to the plan, selecting one of our existing users, and we'll make Anna the person responsible for approving this. So we can now see we've added a member of our team whose job will be to approve the plan when it's ready. Who's going to help organise and run it? As noted earlier, you can send out a link and let people choose to help organise it. In this case, we know who's going to run it, so we can add one organiser to it. We could add multiple if we wanted to, but we know we only need one organiser to run this. and we know who that's going to be. We can see now this plan now has enough organisers because we have added an organiser to it. What qualifications might your organisers need, and correspondingly, what qualifications might your attendees need where an activity builds on a previous one they need to have done first? So see our video on qualifications to understand more about how to use those in Gearlog, but from the qualifications that you've already added to the platform, you can then select those and say, people organising this qualification need to have the following qualifications. So in this situation, we'll add an instructor qualification, and we'll also add their first aid qualification as well. So now we've added 2 qualifications that the people organising this must have, and we would expect the person in charge of approving the plan to verify that that person in the platform, or if you're not using our qualifications tool in the platform, externally has got that qualification. Who might be coming on it? As noted earlier, you can use a link that you can send out to people to help them sign up directly. If you know who you're expecting to come, then you can add them from your user list. In this situation, we'll say that we know that we've got 2 people coming along on this one. So we're going to add on 2 people. We'll add Jane, and we will also add John. So now, looking back over where we've got to so far, we know who's in charge of approving this. That's Anna. We know who's going to run it. That's Peter. We know the qualifications that our organiser, Peter, must have. He must have development instructor, and he must have his first aid qualification current. And we will also see that we know now who is coming along to the qualification. Think now, do your attendees themselves need to have any qualifications that pre-qualify them for what's going to happen on the day? If they do, then you can add that from your list of qualifications that you've enabled for your account. So in this situation, we're going to say that the only people coming along will be people who are already holding their climbing wall instructor qualification. And that's something we would expect the attendees to have before they can come on the course. If you'd like to attach any documents to here, then you can, as noted earlier on the platform, upload files and folders into the platform and attach them to this plan. So for example, those could be risk assessment forms that you've already conducted for this activity. They could be packing lists of equipment that you'll need, anything you need really that provides some extra documentation on the plan. If you believe that the activity, this plan, will need particular sets of equipment that you've put together and already created a list for, then you can nominate those lists here as well specifically. So for example, you could browse through the sets of gear lists that you've got on the platform and say which ones you're intending to use for it. So for example, although unlikely, we could pick our list of all equipment. More likely, you will design a particular list suitable just for that activity. And finally, you can also state where this activity takes place at. So that could be multiple locations or just the main location that we've already set it to. So in this one, we've already decided that we'll just run it at our rope climbing hall. At this point, we've now completed the activity and all sections on it have been populated and set to go. If we have a quick look at our calendar as well, just to see how that looks now, we can now see we've got an additional 2-day activity running later on in the month. Switching back to our list view again, the last thing that would now need to happen is that we would need to approve that plan.